Hey, what's up everybody? This is Dumpster Cat. Welcome back to another Pioneer video. In this one, I've got a little bit of spice. I've got some mono black for you guys today. It's not green black, but I really like mono black as well. I know there's already like a mid-range deck and a waste knot deck pretty prominent in the format right now, but I wanted to try to innovate just a little bit, and I've been inspired by MHayashi. I've been watching a lot of their videos recently. They have been playing mono black and mono red in modern. Obviously this is Pioneer, but one of the recent mono black decks that they put together kind of looked a lot similar to this one, playing the 8 field effects. I think this is a lot better in modern than in Pioneer, of course, but I was really intrigued by it, and in some testing just wanted to try it out. It actually felt really nice. Just like being able to put Revolt on Fatal Push extra nicely is really good. For Cling to Dust, I guess, another thing about this deck is MHayashi always plays sets of cards, and so that's what we're going to be seeing for the main deck and then some of the sideboard. Cling to Dust also works really well with the field effects I have found, just filling up the graveyard really nicely, thinning out the deck, being able to hit our big payoffs, and just like the deck overall, I feel like it's just really efficient. I started out playing Invoke Despair in the main deck, but found it just to be a bit too clunky. I didn't want to go above 24 lands. The mana is a little, I guess, clunky again with the 8 field effects, the 8 colorless sources. Having a quad black card in the main deck is not entirely ideal. I think in the sideboard it's fine, and I do bring it in against the grindy matchups essentially, as you could kind of figure out. Along those lines with the mana, I don't think we could play Sign in Blood or Gifted Aetherborn. I don't think you really want to play those cards anyways. I think Misery Shadow is just the better and more universal card as compared to Gifted Aetherborn. And I think that Cling to Dust is just a bit better than Sign in Blood, just in the late game. Sign in Blood, plays nicely with Sheoldred, but I don't think we really need to, rely on effects like that. If we have Sheoldred on the battlefield, sticking, then I think we're going to be in good shape anyways. Yeah, I just really like this deck. I've been doing really well with it. I guess another thing is just the removal suite. We have 4 Push, 4 Thirst, 4 Edict, and then I guess Liliana's as well. I initially had the deck without the Thirsts, but after seeing MHayashi play this card, I thought it was really good. Just like really flexible. Again, not as good in Pioneer as it is in Modern with Ren and 6. But with the Nalaar deck and then aggro just being really popular, Bloodchief's Thirst is a really nice deck, or really nice cards to have access to, especially like against mono green as well. Having 8/1 mana removal spells is just really good against all of their elves, and then Thirst can turn into of course Planeswalker or bigger creature removal in the late game if we need it. Trespasser and Liliana, just kind of like the best black 3-drops we have access to in the format, I feel like. Could play Davriel if we want to be a bit more spicier and have some extra beef against, I guess, control, mid-range, or combo. But I feel like Trespasser is just a bit more universally good. We don't have too much graveyard hate other than the Cling to Dusts, and nothing in the sideboard, so I think we need that, and just like it's a really good threat, and we don't necessarily need too many threats in this deck, just because we do have the Hive, the Eye Tyrants, and the castles to kind of either be just a threat in itself, or dig us to the Lilianas and Sheoldreds, or I guess even the Shadows can be a threat as well. But I feel like just having like a 3 mana decent mid-rangey threat is kind of what we need, and obviously the graveyard interaction is pretty nice as well, so don't mind that too much. Honestly, like I've been fooling around with Obosh builds as well, with obviously more 1-drops, Davriel. I think cutting Sheoldred is probably just like not really correct. This card is just extremely powerful in the format. You could make the argument that like everybody's kind of warping their removal around Sheoldred, and so we may just like not want to play him, or I guess her in that sense, and maybe Obosh is just the better card. And so I think there's definitely a build with Obosh and no even cards but I think this one may be just a bit better. And we're playing 4 Sheoldred anyways, so if our opponents do remove it, then we just have extra copies quite often, and we just have so much more utility and threats to have besides that. So I don't think we need to worry about that too much. In the sideboard, going for the full 4 Duress, I found this to be really nice. Just having 8 1-mana discard spells is extremely nice against Lotus Field, which has been popular recently, and of course Control, which has been also popular. Control is a bit of a tough matchup. Lotus Field is super easy with the field effects, the discard spells, and Liliana. Not really worrying about it too much, and Sheoldred, I guess. So Duress is really nice. I am running 6 Wrath effects. I've chosen Path of Perils and Ritual of Soot. Aggro is just really popular right now. Path of Peril is the best Wrath effect against P and Nalaar, I think, at least just in the black colors. Ritual of Soot is the best Wrath effect against mono white, I feel like. So I wanted an even split with those, with these effects, just because those 2 decks are going to be I feel like are the most popular aggro decks at the moment. I don't think like playing more removal spells is really too necessary. Like we already have a decent game 1 against them, just because we do have the 8 1-mana removal spells. So I'm not worried too much, but aggro is definitely a problem, and so I wanted to come prepared at least a bit post board. 6 Wrath effects may be a bit too much. I will bring in all 6 against any aggressive deck pretty much. If we come across like red-green vehicles, I only bring in Ritual of Soot, and maybe like 1 or 2 copies of Path of Peril, but it's kind of situational. But yeah, anyways, besides that, of course, I touched on the Invoke Despairs. I do think playing this in the sideboard is maybe a bit more correct. We already have a lot of card advantage, kind of surprisingly, with the castles and the Cling to Dusts, so I'm not worried too much about that. And we're just kind of like an attrition deck anyways, so we don't need too much card advantage, although Pioneer is like, pretty resilient format, so attrition is not like the end-all be-all, right? We need something else. And I feel like Invoke Despair in the post-board setting is probably the correct choice for that. Obviously coming against Rakdos, Blue-White, any other random like grindy deck that we may feel we need it. So that's really nice. I feel like I've had pretty decent success against every deck in the format. Obviously winning and losing sometimes here and there. The only deck that I've had struggles against is Rakdos Sacrifice. I think Ritual of Soot is decent against them. Path of Peril, maybe not so much. I don't like bringing in Invoke Despair against them. Can maybe see playing like a Kalidas or something like that. Not really sure. Mono Green can definitely be tough as well, but I think the Misery Shadows help out a bunch, and then the Needle and Invoke Despair's post board are pretty nice as well. So we'll see today if these the 8 field effects are going to be relevant enough to kind of stick around, at least in my mind, in Pioneer. I think Mono Black is probably the best deck we could be playing them in if they are going to be a force in the meta or just in this deck in general. I do think that playing these effects alongside Fatal Push is really nice for us. It kind of like, without having Fable or Blood Tithe Harvester, having the field effects to trigger Revolt more often is extremely nice for us. And just because we have so many 1 mana things to do with 1 mana, being able to go like turn 3, like field a land, plus like play a 1 mana spell is almost like at least to me, it's felt like it's been a kind of like a double spell turn, in that sense. So I think that's pretty cool. And of course, in Pioneer, there are a lot of 3-color decks that we could punish pretty nicely, a lot of utility lands that we could punish pretty nicely, and even some of the 2-color decks don't play, or oftentimes don't only play 1 color of their basic lands. So for instance, the PNLR deck I found only plays 3 mountains, and so we could take them off Pia and Showdown sometimes, which is pretty sweet. So I love to see that, and just like pretty much like in Mono Black, any advantage we want to get, we want to take. Just right off the bat. And so I think having that extra flexibility just in targeting their mana base is pretty interesting as well, and has been decent enough for me. So with that being said, don't want to ramble on too much. Of course, thank you to all of the viewers, especially to the patrons. Thank you guys so much. Andrew, Philip, Naughty Grandpa, Andrea, and Pedro, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And with that being said, let's get on with the matches. Hope you guys enjoy. Okay, match number 1. We are on the play. Pretty decent hand. We can keep this one. So, sequencing lands is something we have to worry about. This deck, with the Castle Locthwain's Hives, the colorless lands. Okay, Sacred Foundry, no. Jegantha could be, or it's probably not be Nalaar, because they played Jegantha, so I'm not entirely sure what this means. Seagrim Coast, interesting. Tormod's Crypt, Mox Amber. Okay, Emery, so probably some type of combo. Yeah, Retraction Helix. Okay, cool. We have a research desk. Probably just going to be edicting this away. I guess we can attack first, but shouldn't matter too much. Okay, and so I guess they didn't have one of those effects. Target creature gains return non-land permanent to its owner's hand, so they could bounce. If they target like that Emery, they could bounce itself, right? Okay, unearth that. Top 2, one of them until the end of your next turn you play it, so that it shows it's Saheeli. Alright. Let's start by plussing. Let's just plus away one of these Field of Ruins. Yeah, I think we're just gonna play Sheoldred. I mean, we could like disrupt their. Actually, no, they have perfect mana base, so can't really disrupt them right now. I'm not sure. I would assume. Well, actually, with the research desk, I'm not sure if their deck relies on drawing cards or not. If their combo, that is. They do have Mox Amber to start. I guess Saheeli could probably make like infinite tokens. There's another Crypt, Mana Confluence. That's it though. Okay. So we could field them twice, right? Yeah, drawing castle allows us to field twice. I guess we could start by plussing though. I think fielding twice is a bit better than playing second shadow. I think I'd still probably want it in my hand rather than this Hive though, at the end of the day. Okay. So let's play land and go to attacks. I guess we could threaten to kill Saheeli. They would have to block the... no. Because if they block Shadow, and then this would just be one loyalty, so let's just go after them. I guess we're hoping that disrupting their mana is going to be worth it. And then we could get an extra point of damage if we do all this now. So let's go Mana Confluence first. Okay, no basics. Sweet. And then take them off double white, double blue, or double red. I don't think it matters. I think probably double blue. Definitely double blue. And then I guess probably double white is like the least we have to worry about. So let's go after the Sparkglyph Canal. And then pass turn. Okay, Unearth to start. That's probably a good sign for us. Oh, they had an island in hand. Okay, so they probably just run the one basic island. That's good to know about. Portable Hall, Shadow. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Guess let's just play out our hand. And plus, they had a Rona. Okay, cool. I think we're just still supposed to attack them. And pass turn. So I guess Saheeli inhibits them from playing Gigantha. Okay, they just concede. Cool. So yeah, I mean, the field effects were really good there. And then just like Liliana didn't even have any other interaction, did we? Okay, so that's pretty nice. That's a good sign. And Sheoldred, of course. So yeah, Duresses and Pithing Needle seem really good. I guess that's probably it. Then I think I like all of a removal actually, because they had Rona. They may play Jace as well, and then like the Edict is good against Saheeli too. So I think I just want to cut Shadows. Oh, I guess Cling to Dust is good versus Emery. So yeah, let's just go like cut Shadows and cut one Trespasser. A little light on threats, but as we saw there, we usually just like need one, or even like if we have, since we have the full 8 discard spells, we may not even need like a prominent threat. Like Hive could just like be fine. It's a good hand though. Look at this like perfect like land spell. Okay, so they have turn 2 Emery. Also dig through time. So we have Edict for Emery. So I think we just take the dig through time. We could take the Emery though and try to have this be stuck in hand. But I think with how I see this game going out, I feel like they would have the time to cast dig. And I you know, with the way their hand is, I don't mind using Edict. We're not going to be doing anything on turn 2 anyways. Any other thing? Maybe, yeah, they could hit Desk, which is decent. And in situations like this, I like just like being mana efficient, not using the Thirst. So maybe it was fine to take the Emery. I mean, consider makes dig through time a bit better too. I don't know. Oh, Jeskai Ascendancy. Okay. So that's... Okay. Is this the new, like, Ascendancy deck? I'm not sure. Like, because I know Ascendancy was... Can be played until you... Okay. So we're not doing much, unfortunately. I assume they need a creature to get the Ascendancy, like, doing something, though. Can like never really deal with a card like this. Okay, here's the question: do we go Thoughtseize, leave up Edict, or Sheoldred? I feel like Sheoldred is probably a bit better. Could be wrong, because I definitely need a creature for this to be good. It's close. I mean, obviously they're going to be drawing cards. Did we see Otawara from them? I'm not sure. They could be playing a Roast as well, or change their probably Roast. I feel like being mana efficient is maybe just a bit better. It's pretty close though. Sheoldred also is just like a our quickest way to win this game. So getting it out as early as possible is probably correct, but again, it's close. But yeah, also the line here of them just not really having anything is better when we have Sheoldred. So this unearths, and okay, so let's start by Thoughtseizing. 2 lands, okay. Don't mind using removal spell here, which otherwise wouldn't really do much. They do. I definitely should have Thoughtseize after this though. My bad, you guys. Yeah, little bit of a misplay. I think we should still be fine here mostly. So they have 2 lands and then 2 unknowns now. Especially having Edict up, I think we're mostly fine. We'll see though. Unearth the desk probably means they don't have too much in hand. Runa, okay. They just play that out and then land. Canal, okay. So yeah, this is like pretty much exactly what we wanted. In fact, I think so. If we hit land off the top, do we have lethal? 7? No, they're going to be down to 1. So that we could keep up Edict here. Not that it's like too necessary. By thirsting on our turn and then holding up Edict on their turn. So just like a slightly bit better. I feel like. Okay, there's a Mox Amber. They're gonna have to. This is gonna be their last card they have to draw though, or they get to draw. With Sheoldred on the battlefield, so they either need to combo off somehow without drawing cards, or deal with Sheoldred and then do that. Okay, I can see though. Pretty cool. I think we have a pretty decent matchup against combo decks like this, especially 3-color combo decks where the field effects are really good, and then with the 8 discard spells post board, I think our plan against them is pretty nice. And then we saw Sheoldred both games just kind of be the threat that we needed it to be. And yeah, see you guys for the next one. Okay, match number 2. We're on the draw with a keep. Double Clean, maybe not the best. Spire Buff Canal, okay. See what we got going here. Maybe Phoenix? Okay, so this is, what do you call it? Creativity. So Impulse does nothing against us. Negate is good against Liliana. Shark Typhoon is just like whatever. It's kind of close. I think I'm gonna take the Fable though. Fable is just really, really good against us, generally speaking. And then like being on the draw, I feel like not taking negate is fine. If we were on the play, I think just going like yeah, definitely on if we were on the play, then we definitely take negate, and then we have Liliana Edict for their turn 3 Fable. So yeah, but if it's like this, we're just gonna have to be okay with taking the Fable. So here we're going to see the power of Cling to Dust. Hopefully drawing us into maybe like, I guess just Thoughtseize. Okay, so let's just go with the Trespasser now. Not the best play, we haven't drawn too much. I guess like Edict or Push could have been decent against a against the creativity deck, but I think this should be fine. Obviously, like I just explained, being on the draw is a little awkward here, for sure. Oh, we get to exile this. Okay, sweet. put that on blue, which is interesting. Narset. Okay, so maybe it's not creativity. Maybe it's just like a blue-red mid-range deck. Impulse number 2. Shouldn't be too much to worry about. We get to resolve Liliana here, which is nice. So Impulse only hits creatures, but Volcanic Spite, the other one that they maybe could play, I'm pretty sure hits Planeswalkers. I think either way, we're still gonna go for Liliana here. Edict. Spell Pierce would be really nasty. Okay. And then kill Narset. And then a little side note with Trespasser, we quite often don't want to be exiling creature or cards from our graveyard if they're not creatures. Like if we don't have Cling to Dust in hand or in the graveyard, then it usually doesn't matter too much. If we're against like an aggressive deck or a mid-range deck, or I guess no, if we're up against any deck, then exiling creatures from our own graveyard is fine enough. But usually we don't want to do it. Just knowing we have 4 Cling to Dusts in the deck. Oh, they are creativity. Okay. So they have negate, impulse, and 1 unknown. Still, like, we haven't been drawing too much though. Seeing the Narset kind of threw me off a little bit with like what they were on. I guess I didn't need to tap that field. Or that swamp, rather. In fact, I probably just should have fielded before. Put an extra card in the graveyard. Okay, Fable was pretty good. Yeah, actually really good with the way their hand is right now. Still have 1 unknown. Yeah, I wonder how many basics they play. So they have negate for this Bloodchief's Thirst. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to field to where they don't have 2 mana open, so I could plus Liliana and Bloodchief's Thirst this turn. It allows them to have a blocker, probably, for one of these Trespassers, but I think it's good enough. I think I just want to keep my Liliana alive. So let's try to do that. See how it goes though. So we get 2 field effects here. Kind of like I think this happened game 1 last match. And then the 1 mana to cast Thirst after. Or they may actually, okay, this is actually perfect. They just don't have any islands. Okay, so there's 1 impulse gone. Let us Bloodchief's Thirst this, and then attack. And then we have Cling to Dust cooking in the graveyard. So imagine they, just discard. Oh, they discard creativity alongside, and then they concede. Okay. Okay, so Atraxa creativity. I think we probably just want Duress. And then, what's like not the best? Shadow's not the best against their removal spells, but maybe it's fine as a proactive threat. I think I probably am just cutting Bloodchief's Thirst. I don't know, they have Fable, Shark Typhoon. It's just like, if they're going to be targeting a creature, I want my removal to be instant speed. Targeting creature with creativity, that is. Could also just trim like Cling to Dust. Sometimes that's what I do. I think let's just go something like this. They have Narset, but I don't think I want Needle. I don't know. I usually like trimming on Shadow. Let's just go 3/3 and then 2 Shadow. I like trimming on Shadow in like removal heavy matchups like this. On the draw, we have Cling to Dust to draw into land. I think I'm going to keep it just because like double Duress into Liliana is really, really good. And we have a few looks at land. But obviously there's a big risk factor. Ooh, Chandra Hope's Beacon. Okay, that's sweet. So they have a relatively slow hand. I'm going to start by taking a Typhoon. And then really hope we could hit land next turn. To go Duress plus Cling. Although maybe... Okay, I'll Cling here. Maybe actually just like saving the 2 Duresses for their 2 payoffs is a bit better. But drawing land obviously is quite perfect. Okay, and I'll take the Typhoon. I thought they would cycle in response. But this line was like the initial one I had in head, where we could just take their 2 Shark Typhoons with our 2 discard spells. Okay. Not incredibly ideal with the tap land, but at least we are hitting our land drops. They, however, are not. Wow, okay. But yeah, I thought they... When I first made that analysis, I thought they wouldn't cycle the second Shark Typhoon, which they didn't, but I think it was probably correct for them to do that. Okay, so they'll maybe have a negate here, which could be good, but of course we just have second Liliana. Negate or like removal spells is what they could have. I think I'll just discard second Sheoldred here. I think, yeah. I think second Liliana is better than second Sheoldred. Pretty fun so far. Deck has felt really good. I guess opponent is stumbling just a bit. Okay, they had Atraxa. That makes sense. So we saw Shark Typhoon, Fable. They probably run the Strike It Rich. Or no, not Strike It Rich. That's not legal. The 4 mana, draw 2, make 2 treasure. Instant. Always forget the name of that card. Prismari Command. Draw 2, discard, make a treasure. Okay, so they could have an Atraxa here. This was like the perfect card for them, actually, if they hit their land. Okay, discard 1 creativity and 1. And their Chandra. If they have land, they could go... Ooh, no land though. If they had land, they could go creativity. Triple blue, what is this? Narset? Maybe a Narset. No? Shark Typhoon? Probably Shark Typhoon to try to hit a land, yeah. No, okay. Okay, that was a pretty nice draw. Um, hmm. So I feel like I do want to get rid of this shark token just because if they don't hit a land, they could target it with creativity. So I think I'm gonna Liliana. So I think I'm gonna not play Sheoldred this turn. Although we could have minused. No, I think I want to be plussing with Liliana. We could have minused and played Sheoldred, but I think I just want to keep plussing with Liliana. And at least if they do have the Atraxa here, we have Edict end of turn. Sheoldred could be decent as well after that. And then Liliana plus. So, still feeling okay, but they could definitely have something here. Okay. Looks like we're just kind of getting a little lucky. Opponent is getting a little unlucky. Thoughtseize. Oh. Yeah. That could be decent here. Okay, let's plus away the Edict. See if they discard the creativity, which I thought they may do, and then let's just play Sheoldred now. Discarding creativity could mean they have a third one in hand. I think I'm not going to play around the third one for now, although it is kind of likely. I don't know, like it's likely and unlikely because they've like just drawn, you know, not much of their deck and seen 3 creativities is a little unlikely. But with them like discarding it like that and that quickly, because like creativity is pretty much their only out here. Looks like they just didn't draw lands though, and we kind of got there. So feeling good. Got a little lucky this game, but otherwise the deck is feeling really nice, and I'll see you for the next one. Okay, match number 3. We are on the draw with a keeper. Lots of nice interaction. Hopefully you play against an aggro deck. Okay, Greasefang. Haven't seen Greasefang in a while. Cling and Edict are really good here. Oh yeah, Thoughtseize off the top is really, really nice as well. So Parhelion, Witherbloom. Let's take one of the Witherblooms. Obviously don't want to be putting their payoff in the graveyard, or the payoff that wants to be in the graveyard. I'd probably just go Vessel end of turn. Shadow is nice. So there's a world where they could either hit Greasefang off Vessel or have just drawn it and then put a vehicle in the graveyard. In that world, going Shadow here is not good. I think I'm just not going to play it. I don't think it's too necessary. Could be a little too safe, but I've had like so many experiences where going for a play like that is not good for us. Okay, it looks like they didn't hit. They hit a Greasefang, but they didn't hit a vehicle for the graveyard. So this could still be fine, completely fine for us if they just play Greasefang here, and we just have the response. And yeah, I think I'm just like completely fine. Ooh, Thoughtseize is pretty decent. But I think I'm probably still fine leaving up Edict, Cling, even Demolition Field here. Like really nothing can go wrong with 2 ways of interacting with their combo. Didn't hit too much off this. So they can't get instance restore shoes off Vessel, but pretty much anything else. They got Takenuma. Actually, maybe going for Thoughtseize plus Edict was probably the leave up Edict is probably the line there. Actually, now that I think of it. Okay, so there's Parhelions. Yeah, I should have done that. Not too necessary to leave up 2 ways of interacting with them right now. Get a Darkboard pathway. So let's go after the thicket. Yeah. And then we could cling Parhelion. Yes. So I think now let's Thoughtseize. Grizzly Salvage, okay. Mutt and Wayfinder. So they are on the, oh yeah, they are on the Mana Confluence one, which could be a lot better with our field effects for us. So that's good to know about. Sometimes Greasefang doesn't play Mana Confluence and no Scrapwork Mutt, and they're just straight Abzan. So they chose the Mutt. Okay, so this is their hand right now. So let's just take the Greasefang. They do have a can't stay away. Yeah. So let's leave up our Edict. Still kind of on the edge a bit here. Oh, okay, so this is really good. Thankfully they don't have enough mana to go can't stay away right after this. But Thoughtseize is really, really good for them. Now we kind of need to draw another field effect or another Edict. Pretty much. They could also just get it back with Takenuma now. Okay, that was really bad. I wonder if thoughts like how different the game would be if we Thoughtseized when we should have. Yeah, we can't do anything. Okay. Mill over another Parhelion, get back Greasefang. Okay, okay. I guess they just have Greasefang in hand now. But we could take them off white, so yeah, let's do that. I'm pretty sure they don't play any planes, especially the Mana Confluence version, right? Yeah, so they only play the one swamp, which is good to know about. No basics in the graveyard, yeah. So here's Mutt, discard the Parhelion they had in hand. Still have Greasefang, so they could obviously hit a white land and play it. Looks like they don't have that just yet though. Oh, yeah, wonderful draw there, wow. Okay, so we could do a lot here. I think, what's the safest play? Probably just Liliana plus, then leave up Cling to Dust. Yeah, because if they hit white land, then we're pretty much we are just dead. So let's just do that. Oh, sorry, you have enough mana to do everything here, right? Yeah. So that's plus first. Man, Cling to Dust is so good. I thought we had 4 mana, not 5. So they discard the Greasefang, which could mean they have another one in hand, or could mean that they obviously just, you know, don't have any white mana, and so they didn't want it. Chariot would be the best draw for them now. Even then, we draw off Cling to Dust, we have Edict, which could be good, and yeah, I just concede. Okay, nice. Was a little scared there for a sec, but pretty good. We don't have really like any sideboard cards against them except for Pithing Needle. Could bring in Duress. Some number of Duress could be good, maybe better than Liliana, especially on the draw. Liliana's kind of weak. I think, yeah, like all my removal. Cling stuff is good. Shadow is fine. Trespasser great. Sheoldred is like okay. So let's cut like 3 Lilianas, put in 2 Duress. Don't think I want more than 2 Duress. Like, not hitting Greasefang is obviously not good for us, so. Okay, I'll keep this on the draw. It's a 2-lander, but we have three spells we could cast. Opponent mulligans as well, which is great with our Duress hand. And we have a few looks at a 3rd land. Okay. So this is why Duress is sometimes really, really bad. So we just put the combo in their graveyard. Oh my god. I guess they already had it with the informant, so we can't feel too bad. Yikes. That was not ideal though. Having Thoughtseize as compared to that would have been so much better. Unfortunate. I think that's like a pretty unlikely scenario to happen, so I don't feel like too terrible about it. And at least we do have 2 push here to get rid of the angel tokens. So we have 13 damage here. Do I want to trade with this informant? I think so. Okay. So we're just dead. Unfortunately, I mean, they would have had it anyways. Yeah. Well, I guess if we just didn't cast this Duress, they would have had it anyways. If this was a Thoughtseize, then we would have been in much better shape, is what I was trying to say. I guess on the play, second Liliana is maybe a bit better. Maybe we're just not supposed to play Duress. I don't know. I'm scared now. It's, sure. I'm just not gonna play Duress. I think on the play, Liliana's better, despite her being not good. But she was just really good game 1 rather. So. Okay. I'll keep this. Also a 2-lander, so not incredibly ideal, but lots of good interaction here. Pithing Needle being really good, obviously. Ooh, okay. So, I'll take Greasefang, but double Chariot is just like, even with the Pithing Needle, is pretty tough. Maybe the field effects can get us there though. That is with like stone raining them. Lands, no. Okay. So they're just gonna go Grizzly Salvage here. So let's just attack. Pump once, then Needle the Chariot. Which does a little bit. But like, because we are a mid-range tech, Seaga's Chariot is just really good against us. Satyr, Wayfinder. Okay. Also, not drawing land is pretty bad for us, right? So we really need to draw land next turn to like feel pretty good. I feel like, I guess, decent against it, or within our situation. 7 cards in hand from the opponent, though. Wither Bloom Command. Okay, that's really good. I have a Godless Shrine in hand, and we didn't even draw anything, or land, that is. So I'm gonna leave up my Edict here. Like, the okay thing here is we could go Edict on token and kill the other token on our turn. But then they just still have second Chariot for us to deal with. Man, just really not drawing lands. I mean, they're down to 10, but it's going to be hard to win this game. They just slam. Okay, they just had Greasefang. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't do much. Really unfortunate. I think Greasefang is a really good matchup for us. So it's really unfortunate that we just had 2 games where we didn't draw a third land. Or else this matchup is just like pretty clean, easy win for us. We just have so much interaction. 4 Clink's Dust, 4 Trespasser. We have Needle post board. I was thinking about adding in second Needle, possibly, in the board for this matchup and mono green, which may be necessary, maybe unnecessary. I just wanted their Wrath effects for this league, but it's a little unfortunate, but that's okay. You know, we just didn't draw lands. So I'll see you guys for the next one. Okay, game number 4, or match number 4. We have a 2-lander. I put up Mulligan to 6. We're on the draw. We have a Cling to Dust, but I think we are supposed to mulligan this one. Okay, this is a good bit better. So let's put back Second Thirst. Let's see what we're up against. Oh, we have a companion. Gigantha. Okay, so it's going to be good practice. Nalaar is definitely a tough matchup, but I definitely don't mind playing against it because this is a very popular deck in the format. So if you know our brew is going to be worth anything, or if we're able to beat this with our brew, then it's going to be worth something, right? Thankfully, we do have the 2 removal spells for this. Oh, yeah, Second Thirst. It's great. Allows us to do Clink's Dust end step here. I was going to Edict, but could be a bit better to be mana efficient on our turn, but I think this is fine. Ooh, no Ren's Resolve or anything is really good for us too. Unfortunately, we do have to target a card in our graveyard, but shouldn't matter too much. Okay. So let's not show them the field effects and just go Trespasser here. They could have, well, this is pretty good for us. They could have Change the Rocks. Oh, sorry. I was thinking they have to enchant plains with Change the Rocks, but let's enchant target mountain, so they could just put it on this. My bad. So we should have probably, or could have, gone for a field effect, but it doesn't really change much. Okay, so this is good for them. And there is a Change the Rocks, which they can cast if they don't like this card in hand. Yep. Those, wow, this actually might have been like the 2 best hits they could have had. Change the Rocks for this turn, then just Showdown next turn. Although, interesting, yeah. They need to hit 4th land off the top to cast that. I wish they had only 1 white source here. Although I guess our play doesn't really change still. We're still just going to field them. And really hope they didn't hit 4th land off the top. White mana. I don't know why they would change that. Okay, no land just for 1 turn, please. Okay. I can deal with that. So now they just really have Nalaar and Jegantha and the top of their library for us to worry about. So now Thoughtseize was fine. We could castle end of turn. We take 3 down to 13, then 2 down to 11. I think it's kind of close. I mean, I think I won't do it for a turn, just because they can't have showdown this turn. Oh, what? Okay. Also, we could do this now. Okay. Hey, we take those. All of that thinking just for nothing. Okay, so we're coming prepared for this matchup, which is great. The Wrath effects. So, what was my sideboarding like? I think I for sure on the draw Liliana is pretty crummy. And then like Cling and Thoughtseize aren't the best. Maybe like I could keep 2 Lilianas and then go like -2 Thoughtseize, -2 Cling to Dust. Misery Shadow is another one that's like not entirely the best. In fact, maybe Thoughtseize is a bit better. Maybe we could go like 3-3 between those two. Cling to Dust is probably just like the worst of the cards. Yeah, actually, especially bringing in Wrath effects, this is kind of what I've been doing. I don't mind cutting Shadow down quite a bit. Just leave 1 in. Yeah, because like Cling actually could be fine to draw into Wrath effects if we really want to, if like our game plan is just to, you know, draw into those. Okay, this is a bit of a slow hand. They kept 7, which is scary. We are on the draw. The sucky thing is it doesn't even have turn 3 Path of Peril with the way your mana base is, unless we draw like a Hive or a Swamp, because we have to fix with Field. I'm actually gonna mulligan. Okay, so this is a good bit better. I think I want to put back Trespasser, or maybe just Cling to Dust. Yeah, I'll put back Cling to Dust. I think with these 6-card hands, even like 5 or 6 card hands, putting back a Cling to Dust is usually correct if we have it in hand. Just want to keep like the raw power level cards in hand. Okay, they have a pretty good hand. I think we have to take the Nalaar, despite Showdown really being extremely scary. Just going Nalaar into Reckless Impulse is quite problematic for us, and we don't have Liliana next turn because we are on the draw. Okay, no lands off the exile is actually pretty good news for us. Yeah, I really need to not draw lands here though. For us. Okay. So that's not too bad. I think we just go Liliana Edict here. I guess they have second Stomp in hand, so this is maybe not the best, but I think like with the resources we have in hand, I think this is the best play we can make. I don't want to be leaving up Edict. I think playing Trespasser is a little weak. Oh, and they're just doing this? So this is really good for us, actually. No 4th land either? Okay. Ooh, and a Thoughtseize, okay. So that's really nice. So I think let's start with a plus away this castle. Reckless Impulse. So I think I'm just going to go Thoughtseize Edict this turn. And we can't field before to do that. So let's just do this all now. Yeah, gonna have to take this. And I guess our Liliana's gonna die anyways with this. Let's just do this now. So maybe not the best for us, but at least our Liliana didn't die that turn, and we got Showdown out of hand. This card is just really good for sure against us. So what do they do? Probably go Reckless Impulse here. Yep. Okay, those are good hits for them. Now, like, Path of Peril would be a nice draw. Nice little 2-for-1. Bloodchief's Thirst. That's also a good draw. It's Thirst the Mage and play Trespasser. Oh, I just hit third Showdown. Or sorry, second Showdown, my bad. So that's really bad. For obvious reasons, and they have really good hits. Yuck. Okay. I mean, yeah. Can't Thoughtseize the top of their library, unfortunately. Man, would it be too powerful if these field effects hit basics? Probably. Yeah. There's just so much value. And we're almost dead. Nalaar 2 is probably game over for us. I think I'm just gonna slightly thin out my deck. At least that's something. I mean, at least this, like, keeps us alive on the board right now, but they could... well... no, we are dead, because they stomp. Go PO land, stomp, I think is enough. Or no, that's 4 damage. Actually, no, yeah. Because I think if you play this from Adventure, it's counts as an exile. Okay, this just kills us, though. Fair enough. Kind of difficult to beat them on the play sometimes like that, obviously. So now that we're on the play... I think I like Cutting Shadow, bringing in Thoughtseize. The 4th Thoughtseize. And then I'll just have 4 Lilianas. So yeah, sideboard playing against them when we're on the play. Side out all shadows and 2 clings. I think I like that. Yuck. Okay. Okay, we could keep this. I'll put back a Bloodchief's Thirst. Maybe better to put back Sheoldred, but I think having the Path of Peril, I don't really care about. Ooh. Ah, that's a really good hand. Ugh. Having Path of Peril in hand, I don't think we need the extra removal, but should have needed it here, honestly. Jeez. Just like Invasion and Showdown are so good against us right now. I think we have to take the Invasion, with just how our hand is right now. Maybe if we put back Sheoldred and kept the Thirst, we could take the Showdown though. This is just like pretty unfortunate. Yeah. Like, if they go Pia here, this Path of Peril is really not looking good. Maybe we could draw removal though. Nope. Yep, that's my play. That's pretty good. Oh, and they hit land. Wow, they just have us completely locked out from like doing anything. At least push is a good draw for this Nalaar. If they even cast it, they may just go for Showdown this turn if they have land. But yeah, last turn we're just for sure not playing Sheoldred into the Destroy Evil. Okay. Oh, and pass is really good. So no 4th land in hand. And here we do get Sheoldred. I feel like they probably have changed the rocks in hand though. I sometimes just have this feeling. I guess every time I play Sheoldred against this deck, I'm just like, I feel like they have changed the rocks. And would you look at that? At least it delays the Showdown a turn, but we're just really not doing anything. Should I draw Thoughtseize? Nope. Wow, we flooded out big time too this game. Yeah, only drew a Fatal Push, and then the rest lands. These are all really good hits for them, too. Man, this deck is really good. Okay, I guess we can try to castle again. Push. Probably doesn't do it with the Swifty. So tough stuff. I mean, like, game 1 felt really nice against them. Game 2, they were just on the play, and we didn't really. I don't think we drew too much removal, if I remember correctly. But also, they were just on the play. It's whenever they're on the play, it's going to be difficult to beat them. And then game 3 here, we just kind of mulligans to kind of awkward hand. Should have kept the Thirst. And they just had like an insano hand, and we just flooded out. So It's tough to rate the matchup. I have beat it with this deck in the past, so I don't feel terrible against it. Especially with this match, I don't feel too bad losing here. Of course, it is kind of like one of the better decks or one of the best decks in the format, honestly, right now. So it is hard to rate. I think the Wrath effects are like the right plan we want to be on. Could honestly see playing 4 Path to Ritual in the sideboard instead of the 3-3 split for this. But with that being said, I think it's alright, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, match number 5. We're on the play. It's a pretty nice hand. I feel like I've played against this person before. Put a mulligans to 6. The deck has felt really good. Like, matches 1 and 2 were just like extremely in our favor. Match 3 we just kind of got unlucky. I think Greasefang is like a really good matchup for us. And yeah, Nalaar is tough. Island Hall. Okay. So it's probably blue-white. I guess I'll play into a Make Disappear. So I'm not really doing anything else. I think I don't want to field them to fix their mana if they are blue-white. They could just be mono blue. I can't remember what deck they were on. Impulse. Okay. Last time I played them. Okay, so there's white. Impulse is kind of strange for a control deck though. So still a little unclear. Let's start with an attack. I actually probably should have clinged that card. I think it's okay here. However, I should have done that. Because now we have to, yeah. Now we have to do this on our turn, which is a little worse. Yeah. A little bit of a misplay there. I kind of just instinctively exiled that with Trespasser. Wow, look at all these draws. Okay. Still don't really know what they're on. Oh. Lotus Field? Okay, so I guess it's one of these types of control decks. I guess we weren't able to fatal push that, or we didn't. Sorry, I thought this was pushed. Never mind. Okay, really good draw there. Let's start with that. Probably see a really good hand. Yeah. That's been stage 2. Okay. Because I'm taking Teferi. So leave up Demolition Field for stage. Man, these draws are so bad. So they have Wandering Emperor. This is just really bad for us. I feel like they have a pretty crap mana base though. If they're going to be playing like 4 Lotus Field, 4 stage, yeah, they only play 2 basics, okay. So that's at least a good sign. Edict was good. Not like incredibly ideal still, because we're still just like not doing anything. But at least it could deal with the Emperor. Another deluge, okay. Maybe it was correct to attack there to make them play the Emperor. Obviously, with them having the second deluge, I like that line a bit more, but we didn't know about that, so it's kind of tough to say. Because then we get to get rid of Emperor and exile the deluge out of the graveyard. I will activate Castle here though. Okay. Yeah, so I think I'll just make that play now. I think I don't really want to wait any longer. And I really just want to like exile these deluges. So now they're like encouraged to play this, which allows us to disallows them from playing Emperor, of course. But with this line, obviously lends itself better with our hand. Yeah, and 2 for 1 is obviously important too here. Discard Typhoon, okay. So it makes me think they have a second one in hand, maybe. Yeah, now we have Cling to Dust online too. Unfortunately, don't have enough mana to Cling plus hold up field still though. Another stage. Discontinuity. Okay, so they sure. So all of that just for Lotus Field. Okay. It's kind of tough to know what to do here. I think I'm just going to pass. Could have like clung. Could have cast Cling to Dust for a Thoughtseize. But even then, that's like not really that good. Could have also fielded the stage and then second field. Yeah. In response to the trigger to leave them off some mana. But we really just can't beat Shark Typhoon Hardcast. I think I will do that now though. Doesn't do much, but at least it leaves them off a little more mana and fuels our Cling to Dust a bit more. So if we draw like Liliana next turn, then we may have some game here. May want to field the Hall now. Then they have 6, 7, 8, 9. Still a lot of mana. I guess that's not necessary. If we draw Liliana, we could have something going for us, because we do have 2 removal spells for, you know, some sharks. If they have like a Teferi. Our second one is really good. Also, this Castle Locthwain is really good. Okay. So no counterspell open. One top, one bottom. Okay. And I'll keep Edict for a Teferi. Just play push here pretty easily. Trespasser. Okay, so we only have 1 swamp left in the deck. Yeah. Try to draw Liliana? No. And then I guess we could pressure them. They need spells, which is not much to ask. Teferi just completely ruins us here, which seems like they have it. Dream Trawler. Okay. Man, as a midrange player, this card I hate so much. Thankfully we have the Edict to answer it cleanly right now, but oh my gosh, do I hate that card. Okay. So now we have Cling to Dust online. Let's go attack. Oh, didn't do the math, but maybe should have played Swamp pre-combat there. Not actually sure if we just have lethal. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, exactly lethal. Wow, that was stressful. Should have done the math before, but we got there. Thankfully, post-board, I think this matchup gets a lot better with the Duresses. Invoke Despair could also be a good one too. Man, that was stressful. Okay. So we honestly didn't see that much removal, like interaction from them. Saw Wandering Emperor, Teferi, Typhoon, Impulse. Didn't see any counter sensate removal. Strict Proctor. May just want to go like trim these creatures, cut off Fatal Push, or maybe 2/2, because Push is better than Thirst against Typhoon, but Thirst is better against their Planeswalkers. So I guess I would probably would rather have more Thirsts, because they have more Planeswalkers. Oh, and Needle is good. So let's just do the Thirst, because we have the we have discard spells to yeah, we have discard spells to get rid of their Planeswalkers anyways. Could see potentially not having full 4 Invoke, but I think I like it. Also, like, the field effects were so good last game. We're not so good, but like they were really impactful, which was really happy. I'm really happy to see that. Okay, so start with Thoughtseize over Duress. See what their hand is about, then we could Duress something after. So they do have Proctor, no Lotus Field though. We don't have removal for it, but I don't think I'm too worried about that. Yeah, and discontinuity. So I think I'm just gonna take like this Impulse right now, and then plan to Duress the Emperor. Because I don't care too much about the Proctor or the discontinuity right now. Okay, and they didn't draw Lotus Field. So let's just do that. Play Swamp, and then I don't think we need to Needle this turn. So let's just leave up Cling to Dust. Okay. Yeah, I'm not incredibly sure what their like interaction plan is, because they have like Discontinuity is another one that I kind of forgot about, that like takes up a lot of space just for like their big mana plan, right? I think let's just go Shadow here. I'm not going to play around them having I guess, yeah, there's nothing we could do to play around them having Lotus Field here. I was thinking we could Needle Thespian Stage, but that's Thespian Stage, not Lotus Field. These Invoke Despair should be pretty good though. Yeah. So I think I'm just gonna pump this up to 5, and then Needle like Teferi. I guess Teferi wouldn't even be that bad because you just have Invoke Despair after though. So I guess we're playing around like Teferi plus counterspell, like 2 mana counterspell. Foretell a card. So it's either Doomscar or Behold the Multiverse. Ooh, that's nice too. I think I'm just gonna still Invoke Despair though. Well, Liliana, no. I was gonna Invoke Despair. I was gonna say, like, getting Liliana down could be a bit more important. Just because it seems like they don't really have much. But I'm just gonna take my 3-for-1. I guess they could, like, Time Walk? Yeah, okay. And do nothing. So I think I'm just gonna field the hall now, so I don't have to worry about it. If I want to play Liliana next turn, which I think I want to do. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna need 3 hives, so I'll just keep my swamp. Okay, and the concede. Wow, interesting last deck there. I think that control deck is like a lot easier to play around as compared to traditional control deck. Obviously, like in both cases, our sideboard plan of Duress and Invoke Despair is, I think, really, really good against them. Like in terms of like knowing what to side out is a bit complicated. I think like siding out like the Misery Shadows is probably what we want to be doing, but then that leaves us with less threats. But maybe that's like maybe we just want to like keep them from not being able to cast their removal spells on the shadow. I think in that case, like in the match we just played against that deck, it didn't really seem like they had that much removal, so I think keeping shadows at least in some number in is fine, but not completely sure. 3-2 is really nice though. Feels really good to actually go positive in the league, and the deck felt extremely sweet. Yeah, see you guys for the wrap up. Okay, so we got a nice little 3-2 with this one. The deck felt really, really good. Our only losses were to Greasefang, which I think is a really good matchup. Just games 2 and 3, we got stuck on 2 lands for the entire games. So obviously we're going to be losing those, but I think Greasefang is great for us. Nalaar, you know, having that as a loss, I don't mind. It was really close, surprisingly. We did get one game against them, which was nice, game 1. On the play, obviously, it's going to be difficult. And then I think post-board, we do have a pretty nice plan against them. Maybe we do just want the full 4 Path of Perils. Like, not having green for, like, Culling Ritual or Terror Sender definitely, like, hurts us a bit, I feel like. So maybe we are just supposed to go all in on a 3-mana Wrath effect as good as this one, and maybe the Ritual of Soots are just a bit more poor. But the Ritual of Soots do come in a variety of other matchups, like humans. It's a bit better than Path of Peril, I feel like, and what's called red-green vehicles. It's good against. So maybe I'll keep the sideboard as is, but we could see those changes. But yeah, one against the Ascendancy combo deck, one against Atraxa Creativity, and then one against that Lotus Field blue-white control deck, which felt really nice as well. So the deck feels really good. Like the 4 Cling to Dusts definitely came out sometimes, at least in like a few numbers, but they felt really, really good. I like having 4 of them in the main. I like all of our removal. The shadows were great. Trespasser was great. Liliana was great. Didn't see the Sheoldred too much in the latter matches, but like against the combo decks was really, really good. And yeah, I love having like full 8 1-minute discard spells post board, and the field effects were so good. Like cutting off 2 color decks off of their colors was really sweet. Obviously all of the 3 color decks got destroyed by this, so feels really, really good to have those types of effects around. I'm going to be planning on testing out this deck a lot more, so hopefully you guys enjoy. I know it's not black-green, so I do apologize about that, but I haven't been having that much success with black-green as of late, and so I've kind of been wanting to branch out just a bit, and this was just also right up my alley, kind of like how Golgari is. I love these kind of attrition-based, just mono-black decks full of removal, full of interaction, full of inevitability. Kind of reminds me of Legacy Pox decks back in the day. Really, really cool deck. I just love decks like this. I think we have a nice post-board strategy going on here, despite like the full 4 Duress and Invoke Despair kind of looking a bit strange, but I think it does work out quite a bit, or work out nicely. So, feeling good in that sense. Of course, thank you guys all so much for all of your support on the videos, on the channel. We're growing just a bit again, so I thank you to all the new subscribers. If you guys are new here, thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. If you are new and not subscribed, not sure what you're doing, honestly, do have a lot of good content planned out for you guys, and gonna be sticking to a nice upload schedule, just because I have more time since that it's summer. So that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and see you guys later. Take care.